this is JPEG to Raw, show number 93, and tonight we have show number 94. A mistake.
94.
I have 93 in my show notes, and it's actually show number 94. So, my bad. Show number 94. And tonight, we're always looking to bring something different. We love our wedding photographers, we love our portrait photographers, but we like to look for something different. And tonight we have Abe Robinson, who I think is going to bring us something different from Blind 7 Photography. How you doing, Abe?
Doing all right. How are you?
Doing great. Looking through your photos, you sent me some, I picked some, and it's just was extremely difficult to narrow down the ones I wanted to pick, so we didn't have too many. There's some that are beyond what we can show on this show, because we're limited by what YouTube and iTunes will let us show. But we'll have the link in the show notes, and we encourage people to go out to Abe's site, which is what, just blind7photography.com. Is that right?
Yep.
Encourage people to go out there. We'll have the show in the show notes. We'll put it on our Facebook page. We've already done it a couple of times. Encourage you to go look there, because even the ones I do show will be in reduced quality because we're having to stream this live. And when you go to Abe's site, it really brings them to life. It's just we have a wonderful site, amazing images out there. I really enjoyed going through them over the weekend and a little bit last night. And thank you for sending me some of them. One of our, we found you by one of our Facebook guests, one of our Facebook group members, Nikki. I'm going to say her name wrong, so I'll just say Nikki, who hopefully can make it out here tonight and ask you some questions in the live chat. But we are so glad Nikki connected us with you, Abe. And why don't you start off by walking us through how you got into photography, and how would you describe your style of photography? Where is my mouse? Here it is.
As far as how I got into photography, it's kind of a long story, but basically I started off doing like gravestone rubbings, and started doing, like, I was really interested in architecture, and then one day I picked up a 35mm disposable camera. I started snapping, got the whole roll back, loved it to death, and then I started working on it slowly from there. I put it down for quite a while, and then as time went on, I ended up getting a digital camera, started working with that. It was just a point and shoot. Did that for a little while, then I upgraded to a better point and shoot, and it just kept building and building and building, and then about 7 years ago, it just kind of blossomed into what it is today.
So 7 years. So in 7 years, you've built it up to what it is today, and I'm showing some of the images now as we go through them, and we'll spend a little bit of time talking about them. And I was doing a little. This is where I get in trouble. I was doing a little bit of production work there. Did you describe what kind of photography you would call your style?
Oh no, I'm actually, the best way to describe it would be dark conceptual portraiture.
Dark conceptual portraiture. I'm not going to try and say that. Yeah, and this is. So let me ask you a question: do you get busier this time of year, or is this a year-round? And this is this a full-time job for you?
Yes. Yeah, okay. I work about 96 hours a week.
96 hours a week. Wow.
Yep.
And how much of that is split? Just rough guess between shooting and editing and the business side of the business.
Depends on the week. I would say it's probably about anywhere between 10 to 20 hours of actual shooting or being on location at a shoot. And then the rest of it is networking, editing, delivering stuff to clients, doing meetings, the business end of it.
So, let's go right to that, the clients. There's a lot of these shots that would be cool. I would love to get in some of this makeup and have you take some shots of me.
Thank God there's makeup.
Yeah, so I was going to get to the makeup here in a second, but what type of clients are you getting, and what are they doing with the images? Are these, let's just go with that.
It depends. I guess it really depends, because I would say a good portion of the studio's business is a balance between me and my makeup artist. I have a SFX makeup artist. She goes by Juliet Blind, and she does all the makeup for the studio now. But if people either contact her and they want, they just want to do something for fun. Or we have commercial clients, like we work with a haunted house, a lot of like rock bands, things like that. And then they either contact me and end up hiring her, or vice versa. That happens quite a bit. But we do everything with it. We shoot for clothing lines. We shoot for Mushroom Head, yes. I saw Nikki pop up. There's quite a lot of. We pretty much cater to every aspect. We have some clients that normally get light, fluffy photos from photographers to sell their products, and sometimes, especially around the Halloween, people want to darken it up and throw a little bit of edge to their stuff, so they'll hire us to do that. Or people just want to be something that they're not in real life. It's something that they can hang on their mantle, or submit to a magazine or things like that. So we create those images for them.
Yeah. Now the makeup must take, more than anybody we've had on a show. The makeup here is just absolutely outstanding, and I imagine it must take quite a bit of time on some of these shoots to do all the makeup.
We've had makeup jobs take 12 hours.
Wow.
But it just depends on how intricate it all is too. Because some of it, some of the things look really intricate, but they're actually like 20, 30-minute makeup jobs, and then there's things that don't look very intricate that are, and those are the ones that take forever.
Yeah, and I guess my untrained eye, I would say that the more gory ones look like they take a long time, and since going off what you just said, maybe that's just the opposite. But
for the most part.
Oh, we just lost Tim for whatever reason, so now you got double mics on the show. When Tim comes back, you won't have double mics. So some of these more intricate ones, the ones that I think are more intricate, are probably some of the, I guess, what were you going to say about that? The ones that look really gory are not as involved with makeup, is that right?
No, it's not necessarily true, but, I'm trying to think of one image in particular. If the image has I just did this shoot not too long ago where the girl it looked like she ripped her heart out of her own chest.
Yep, I remember seeing that.
And we did this large gaping wound in her chest, and we went to the West Side Market, or a market. Makeup probably was a half hour, but it was an intricate job, but it's one of the quicker ones. So.
Okay, and they just mentioned out in chat, it looks like Nikki mentioned this, and we'll go right to this one. This one is what I think is looks like a Dorothy one. No, that's what Nikki also said, a Dorothy shot. It looks like it's taking a second for it to come up here. There it comes.
Yeah, that image in particular. We got invited to a art auction to sell. It was basically 50% of the piece of art would sell, 50% would go into my pocket, 50% would go towards a GLASA, it's the Gay Lesbian Straight Alliance, and they have their own, what are they called, scholarship fund, basically. And the name of the event was The End of the Rainbow. Okay. So we wanted to create a piece of artwork specifically for that, so we did that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And another one I had teased about this one coming up here. I love the contrast in this one, the black hands with the white skin of the model.
No. Not up yet.
Yeah, it'll take a second to come up.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's actually 3 different models in the same photo.
Okay, so each hand is from a different model.
Yep. Yeah, actually, my makeup artist Juliet, her hand is on top. My buddy Beaners is the bottom hand that's shushing her, and then there's the model herself.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love that one. And so as we go through some of these, and this next one coming up is the one you have on your main page. Love the eyes in this girl, just fantastic. And it'll take a second for it to come up. There's
it popped up.
Yeah, the delay is a little bit longer than it was before. As we go through these photos, and we're doing a slideshow of them a little bit earlier, they look to me and to the untrained eye like, wow, you've done a lot of these. Take a long time in Photoshop. You're doing a lot of work in Photoshop, all this kind of stuff with layers and all that kind of stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your post-processing? Because before you get to that, I do feel when I get to your site that these are all Abe's shots. Once I've looked through a lot of your shots, I can see a pattern there that I feel like they're you. How do you call that? What do you call that? Not a pattern, but
personal style.
A style, yes, that's what I'm looking for. That I can tell of the Abe style. So, do you have Photoshop actions? Do you have just Photoshop techniques that you do? What is it you're doing? This is a setup.
The style. Let me get to the style real quick. The style is actually called Dark Glamour, and in 2007, I shot for a magazine, and they dubbed me the godfather of dark glamour because no one else at that time was submitting work like that to the magazines. So it's kind of been my tagline since. But because basically I'm blending glamour photography and the dark, gory stuff in succession and making things that are dark, beautiful. But anyways, as far as the editing process goes, there isn't very much. I don't Photoshop anything. I don't use the Photoshop other than to add my watermarks to it. I have it installed on my computer, but it barely ever gets open. I'm a Lightroom shooter. Like, I'll shoot. I'm very intricate with my lights. I want to make sure that the light is hitting in the right spot. And I basically, it's pop the contrast a little bit, maybe a little bit of intensity, and if I need to, some skin smoothing. But for the most part, it's all the Lightroom, and I don't, Photoshop, just all that. There's a difference between photography and digital art, and I'm a photographer, not a digital artist. So,
yeah, you told me this in the pre-show, so this was a little bit of a setup there, but because I wasn't shocked just now. I was shocked in the pre-show when we're talking about this that you do all this and whatever you're going to do in Lightroom and not Photoshop at all. That's just outstanding, and I think you would look at this and think that there's a lot of Photoshop work going on here, but you get it right in studio, and then just need to use Lightroom a little bit to do a little bit of fine tuning.
I got to think a lot of that also comes back from shooting at 35mm where you couldn't really edit pictures afterwards, so you kind of learned to do it right the first time.
Right.
Versus people that go after digital and say, I can always fix it later.
Yeah, that's not exactly the way I would shoot. I mean, like this shot in particular that you have up on the screen, that one was literally photographed with, I think I spent $60 on the lights from Home Depot. It's 2 fluorescent strips attached to light stands. That's all it is. Like, wow. It's about how you present the light towards the model's face or body, and back when people shot 35mm, they developed their photos. Photoshop was designed to make a photo into a painting, or a painting into a painting, into a digital version of the painting, whereas Lightroom is more of a digital developing tool. It's just there to develop the image a little bit, to add that contrast or intensity.
Yeah, so the color in her eyes, did you do that in Lightroom, or is that
she just happens to have that's the lights mixed with the fact that that model in particular just had very, very pretty eyes.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I'm actually got it. I got it pulled up. You probably can't see that detail on what I'm showing here, but I have it pulled up over on my other screen. Well, on your main page, is your main shot that you have pulled up on your web page. Maybe I'll.
Yep.
Let me pull that up so while we're talking, and people can see that. So now coming up will be your web page. It looks like I see a little bit of a ring. I think I can see the outline of the strips that you're talking about, but it also looks like I see a ring in her eye.
That particular image. I used to work as a chef at the Radisson Hotel in Eastlake, and the maintenance man there actually took some garbage that was laying around and helped me build a ring light. And we did it for like literally $15 or $20, I think is what the total cost would have been had we actually used non-garbage. And that's set in between the 2 lights, and I'm shooting through it. So it's all continuous light on that shot. And I shoot mixed lighting. I shoot between strobes, reflectors. I use an insane amount of different little things. to get the effects I want. But that in particular, I think that shot cost me about $100 in lighting.
Wow.
Wow. And I mean, when you pull that up, you just, at least me, I'm mesmerized by her look. And I'm having trouble watching you, Abe, because I keep looking off to my left where that photo's pulled up. I'm just mesmerized by her look. That is, I would keep that.
It's
on
almost
It will be
almost
much
one.
appreciated.
What?
And the thing is that that particular model is also a photographer.
Well, she's made a
She's
gorgeous
from
model. In that
Georgia,
case.
I think.
She's from Georgia. I'm down here in Georgia. Interesting.
I think it's Georgia. I could be completely wrong. I know she's from down south a little bit in comparison to me. But we actually met through mutual friends, and she came back up here to have a bunch of shots done. She runs 311 photography down there. I think it's Georgia. I could be completely wrong, but more than likely I am.
Well, okay, you just mentioned a photographer's name of her studio. I meant to ask you this at the beginning. Blind 7, where did that name come from? If you don't mind sharing.
Blind 7 has it's got kind of a unique thing. Back in high school, I was the kind of kid who I hated school. I'm a high school dropout. I really don't like school. But I do a lot of reading. I read constantly, and I was reading a psychology book, and that psychology book had the discrete emotion theory in it, which is that basically every human being has 7 core emotions. So I kind of took that as, that's where the 7 comes from, and the blind is basically if you go into a situation and you're expecting something, you don't feel it as much. It doesn't impact you as much. If you're expecting to see a car accident, it doesn't bother you as much. But if you aren't expecting it, it's like, oh my God. Mm-hmm. So each one of my images back in the day, and when I first started this, and even now, I want you to go in to see everything blindly so it does impact you more. So that's kind of where the name came from.
Okay. All right, and Tim, 2 things I want to make sure you got jotted down. I wrote them down on my sheet of paper, and I just want to make sure we have them jotted down. That he, the Godfather, the quote of the Godfather.
I have that. Godfather of Dark Glamour.
Okay, and because we're going to put that in the show notes.
It's
and Light Ninja. I don't know if
Light Ninja. No, that might have been when I totally lost, my computer froze. I had to reboot.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed we lost you there for a second. I don't know if this has been name has been given to you before, Abe, but it was given to you by Nikki out in chat. If you haven't had this before, you got it now. Light Ninja.
I have not been called that, but actually,
she means it as a compliment.
A lot of people call me a ninja at shows and at weddings because I'm a big guy. I'm a really big guy, but for some odd reason, like, I'll be standing next to my fiance or something, and I'll zip through the crowd, and nobody will even notice where I went. I've got 3 shots, and I've come back. So yeah, I've been called a ninja before, but not like ninja.
Well, so most of what we're going over tonight is the dark portraiture, whatever you said.
Portraiture.
Yeah.
Dark conceptual portraiture.
There you go. I always mess up the last
one.
Yep,
there you
go. But you also, like many photographers, we don't want to make you. We're mainly going to stick on that tonight. But you're obviously, like you just mentioned, you do a lot of different things. You do weddings. You sent me some macro shots. We were showing some of those in the pre-show slideshow. We had a few macros out there too. You do a wide list of stuff. Do you get, which one do you prefer? What if you could make money off of any style of photography? If money wasn't the issue, what would you shoot all the time? Or do you like a variety? Do you like shooting a variety?
I am a big fan of variety, but my heart lays in macro nature photography right there. That's, whenever I get stressed, I grab some headphones, my phone, hop my MP3 player on, and I'll walk up and down a 50-foot stretch for 8 hours. And I lose myself in it. That's my stress reliever. I love shooting models. I love shooting everything. I just like having a camera in my hand constantly. But my heart definitely falls into the macro. And I mean, the dark stuff. If I'm going to shoot for clients, I like the dark stuff better.
Okay, so we got first question. Very good. I think the problem is going to be is making money from macros.
Right.
That's where it gets a little difficult, as I'm sure you're aware. So the first question out in chat
Yeah.
is, do you help your customers develop their concepts, and what is his thought process on doing so? So do people come to you with, hey, this is what I want you to shoot, or are you helping them? You say, I want something different, Abe, and then you develop, or you maybe with your makeup artist develop what that different is?
I mean, it really depends on the client. We work a couple different ways. We don't have like a set structure to it. But what helps me a lot of times is if I have a model come to me, or even a Joe Schmo that just wants their pictures done, we sit down with them and I talk to them. I got to figure out what they like. What kind of music do they listen to? Are they a rock guy? Are they a classic guy? Like, between male and female, there's a big difference because the females seem to be more and more forthcoming with what they're into. Males are a little bit more reserved. But if it's a model, I want to know what they like, because if they're really into zombies, well, if they tell me flat out, I'm into zombies, I want to be a zombie, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm creating a concept for that person, I need to know what they feel on the inside, because I would rather take an image that shows their insides on their outsides than just a standard run-of-the-mill Kmart portrait. So,
right.
As far as concepting goes, it plays a lot into just getting to know your clients. A sit-down, a Skype meeting, whatever it takes, talk to people. If you find out that they're really into a certain TV show, if you can stylize the shoot off of that TV show or that song, or just find inspiration in everything. And I have clients where I have to come up with 4, 5, 6, 10 ideas before they finally like one. But I have most of my clients, I come up with the first idea and they're like, yeah, that's exactly what I want. So it just depends on how well I've gotten to know them over the years, or over the 5 minutes I've been talking to them.
Now I can, and this is going to work in your favor, I hope. I can see, let's say, we got the slideshow playing again, so it's going to be hard for me to pick just one. But a minute ago, you had a guy laying in the ground, looked like he was dead in the dirt with only half his body showing. And then you got maybe a vampire type guy coming up here. I can see if I dressed up like this, had you take my photo of this, that would just be awesome. I would treasure that shot because it's something different than what I've had before. But now I'm hooked. Now I want you to do it again. Do you have a lot of repeat business?
Yeah, actually, so far in the slideshow, from what I've seen, you've shown the same guy 3 times.
Well, I only have so many photos.
He's right, but his name's Joel, and he is definitely a repeat customer. He's been really good to us as far as, he helps us out around the studio and stuff. He tries to hang out as much as possible. And getting to know him makes it so much easier for me to concept for him or help him with concepts that he's started creating on his own, because he wants to be involved. He loves what we've done for him, so it's created a good relationship. And I've heard photographers say it, you can't be friends with your clients. You can't be friends with your clients. Well, that's not necessarily true, because if you are friends with your clients and maybe not, you don't have to be their best friends, but if you get to know them as a person, you're able to read them easily during a shoot or during a consult to help create what they want and what you want to get out of it. I don't just take images for my clients. I take images for myself as well, so I have to be proud of what I'm giving them.
Yeah, and I think as long as the client understands that they owe you money at the end of the shoot, then
that's why you take money beforehand.
Yeah, yes, as long as they know that hey, we could be buddies, but you're going to owe me some money at some point. Then I would imagine it's fine then to have that relationship. At least, with that relationship, they will keep coming back.
Yeah. Well, there's no reason to be rude to people either. And do you want every client to be your best friend? No, because then you have too many best friends. But you can never have enough people that want to be around you.
Yeah.
So
True, you know, and you want the customer to feel comfortable. You know, that I feel
Right.
comfortable having a shoot with Abe. I feel we're gonna have to go through a couple, if you don't mind. At some point,
No.
I want to stop and talk about a couple of these because I'm watching them go through. But you want the customer to feel comfortable, and say, you know, I like shooting with Abe. I want to go back. You know, maybe we're not best friends when we hang out every day, but you want them to feel comfortable and come back and tell their friends when they leave, dude, you got to go see Abe. Abe was going to set you
Oh
up.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want. Word of mouth is so big in this business, and a
It's big in
reputation.
every business.
It is, but you know, getting a good reputation, getting people to talking about you is huge. And Nikki had mentioned, and I noticed these two. There's two of them that, you know, dark conceptual portraiture. Probably said it wrong. There are a couple of them that are they're not, when you say dark, they're not dark color per se. They're more light, and they kind of stand out when we're going through these images. And I want to talk about this one. I think this is the one Nikki was talking about, and yeah, with the white smoke and whatever that is in the background. Can you tell me a little bit about this setup and what's going on in this shot?
This is the Ninja Girl.
Yeah, it looks like Ninja Girl.
Okay. That one is actually part of a cosplay set that I've been working on. It's a series of photos, and there's 7 Ninja Girls. It's basically a play off a video game, Mortal Kombat.
Mm-hmm.
But what we did was, you know, we picked 7 colors because I do enjoy working with colors differently, and this one happened to be the white one. So if you want to take a picture of a white ninja, you don't necessarily want to put her against a white background or you know, put her against a black background, because then it's just a boring portrait. So we wanted to make it a little bit more dramatic and to look like she's creeping through, you know, a dark alley or whatever. So, but in order to light that, to make it look like that, so what we did was literally that's a softbox with a pocket strobe behind a half a piece of
That's a pegboard you buy from Home Depot?
yeah, it's just pegboard from Home Depot, and it's literally just painted white, and because it's had a white side, but the white side was a little dingy, so we just painted it white, threw it up there. No, it's painted silver, actually. That's what it is, silver. And it's literally one board on the left, a space for the light to go, the board with the pegboard, and then another board behind her. And it's shot at an angle. So the whole shot's lit from one light that's behind the thing, and we just plugged a smoke machine in behind it. There's actually a video on my Vimeo channel of shows, you know, it's a little quick minute sped up video that shows us shooting that.
I noticed you had a couple of behind the scenes videos out there, and we'll link them in the show notes too, because I love seeing the behind the scenes. I didn't see this one. I saw a couple others.
Yeah, actually, where I'm at right now, I'm not at my studio. I'm at Monoblock Studios. They're another company that's in the lower part of my building because my internet was horrible today. So these guys were nice enough to loan me their space for a while. They actually just did a video for me called The Fallen, and that one has just been getting mad raised. So definitely, if you're going to throw links up, throw that one up.
Okay. Yeah, that one in this photo. I love this photo. And the next photo I'd like to talk about is another light one. We'll go to this one, the color being light. A nurse, and it'll take a second for it to come up for you. It looks like a nurse maybe with I don't know what's over her face. Tattoo going across the chest.
Her name's Hex Hypoxia. She's a pretty popular model in the alternative modeling industry. She's actually from Houston or Austin, Texas, one of the two. I can't remember which, but she's from Texas, and she travels a lot. She came up here, and they wanted there was a magazine called Bella Morte, and they wanted to do a feature on her for the Halloween issue last year, but they wanted something different, so we went with the white aspect of it. So she put together this Halloween costume with the nurse's hat and the face mask and the top. She put that together out of like 3 different designers, and that's shot against a white wall in my studio.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, do you get a lot of clients coming from different areas of the country, or do you travel any?
I do travel, and I do get a lot of people in from around.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Houston, and then the one lady from around here, around Georgia, maybe.
Yeah.
So are people more traveling to you, or you? I imagine if you're going to travel, you got to bring your makeup artist along with you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, up until probably 2 years ago, I did a lot of the makeup too. So I do know how to do it. I just choose not to do it as much now. And she's way better at it than I am. But certain clients I can get away with. Okay, I got to travel to Philly or I got to travel to New York or whatever, and it's a quick trip, and she can't take off her day job because she actually has a day job still. But if she can't take it off and I have to go, I try and make sure that the makeup job that needs to be done is something that I can handle myself, or I will outsource too. I'll look and see if there's another makeup artist in that area that can help me out with that shoot. But yeah, she does travel with me too.
Okay. Well, tell her, whoever's doing these, whether I don't know which ones you've done, which ones she's done. Fantastic.
Everything in this, she's done.
Well, if
she hasn't done it, the model's done it, which in most cases is just the beauty makeup that goes underneath the gore or whatever.
Well, whoever's doing it's doing a fantastic job, including this one right here.
Well, this one's just freaky.
This one. So during the show before I was getting y'all ready and everything, I have some of these slideshows playing as I'm doing tests. And this one, every once when it would pop up, I'd always catch it out of the corner of my eye and look over to the left. It's not only the makeup but the look on her face. I mean, the capture of this one is just fantastic. Can you tell me a little bit about this one?
The model's name is Sarah. She's a local from Cleveland, and she came to me and she's like, I shot her. There's actually another shot of her floating around in the slideshow where she's on, it looks like she's out in the field. But she came to me. I actually contacted her via a friend for a test shoot idea I had. She came and worked with me. Then she's like, I really love another shoot, but I just want to be covered in blood. I just want to be covered. That's all I want. I just want to be covered in blood. So we made a bunch of fake blood because we make our own at the studio, and it's not that sticky Halloween stuff. It's like professional, movie blood. And I couldn't think of much to do with her, so I started listening to some songs, and I use music a lot to, influence the overall styling. And I had just done a shot a couple of weeks beforehand with the same setup. But there was butterflies floating around, and that one I know you guys can't show because there's nudity in it. But there's technically nudity in this set, but not in this photo.
Yeah.
And it's just one pocket strobe, a $39 pocket strobe, hanging above her head in this little box. And then she just literally took a bucket of blood and poured it all over. So
I mean, you could see this as being something that's taken after some murder scene.
Yeah, or a movie poster.
Actually the front cover. It's the front cover of Propulsion magazine for the October issue.
Oh, well, congratulations! That's awesome. I imagine they pay you for that, right?
Online magazines, I do a little bit of help out. If they need something, as long as it's not costing me a ton of money. We do submit to magazines for publication. I know magazines nowadays, there's so many online. People are just trying to get their name out there and utilize magazines. And I did the same thing last year. Everything I had to get published, but then I quickly realized that you can get published 1,000 times in all these online magazines, and you maybe gain 1 or 2 fans because everybody has a magazine now. So I would not want to run a magazine right now. There's so many out there that accept content for free. Nobody gets paid anymore. So
yeah.
Well, Nikki said Nikki said this would be a great movie poster or an awesome movie poster, and absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's what came to mind when I saw this picture.
Yeah. Now
we do sell prints, so
on your website, right? You sell them on your website.
I sell it by contact only. I tried utilizing those, it's got a little shopping cart thing, and I prefer to have my stuff printed professionally, locally, so it's hard to do that with these little apps. So if people want prints, write me an email. We print in every size. I can print my pictures up to 44 feet by 14 feet, so...
Yeah, that would be awesome. You know, that would look awesome on a billboard.
I actually have some billboards up right now. There's 5 of them across the Cleveland area for a haunted house that I work for, the Fear Experience, and we run a photo booth there. And they've got I did all their commercial shoots for their advertising this year and last year as well. But they have a big, huge 44-foot billboard up with my picture on it at the moment.
Did that really make you feel good the first time you drive around and saw your photo up on a billboard?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's definitely, as far as being, as a photographer, you got to set yourself certain goals, and you got to try and do your best to stick to them. Being able to drive down the street and know that 1,000 people plus see it every rush hour. I mean, granted, it doesn't have my name on it. It doesn't say that, this photo was taken by. But, just knowing the fact that there's that many people that are seeing that image, that makes me happy, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it should. I mean, it's an accomplishment. Not everybody's going to have their photo up on a billboard or, in the magazine or anything like that. I mean, it's a major accomplishment. I mean, there's only so many people who are going to do that. Now, this is a little bit of a side question here. I got to imagine right after this, she wants to shower off and get all this off of her.
Yeah.
You said it's not sticky, but still, you're not going to just slip your clothes back on and go out to lunch.
No, we have a full shower facility in the studio, so we have to.
In this one, I imagine, since you just poured blood over her, that it really, you just shower, you shampoo or whatever, and you're good to go. Some of the more intricate makeup, does it take quite a while to take off? I mean, I'm sure it's not nearly as long as it took to put on.
Oh, no. I mean, for the most part, like something like this, the type of blood we make, it's pretty easy to get off. If you are extremely fair-skinned, you can run into the problem of it staining a little bit. But for the most part, it's not too bad. And the FX makeup, most of the time, as soon as it gets hit with hot water, and believe it or not, Dawn dish soap works wonders on taking this stuff off. So,
okay.
There's a free plug for Dawn.
Okay, question from chat is there any type of photo or concept that you would not do?
I guess the only thing I really don't like to do, and I absolutely I'll recommend other photographers in the area if somebody contacts with me, is pinup. Because for some odd reason I'm just bad at it. Like I've tried so hard, but pinup takes a certain type of bubbliness to the image, and for me, I just don't like it, and it just doesn't work for me. But as far as the actual concept go, normally for me, the more controversial it is, the better.
Okay.
I like my work. I look at it this way: if my work made you angry, made you sad, made you scared, or made you happy, at least you felt something.
Yeah.
So I did my job. So I've done some shoots that have made people throw up a little bit in their mouth when they've seen, and those ones, it's the best way to describe it. But those ones are still some of my favorites to this day, even though I took them years upon years ago, because they're images that no matter who you are, you see, you instantly go, what? Or you go, oh, that's really cool.
So the one that got me the most out of the ones we have tonight, and I'll pull it up here, is maybe one that will surprise you, because it probably is not that extreme, but it's the one that seemed the most gross to me, is this one.
Yeah.
I can't really tell what's happening. What's that?
That's just a close-up shot of the actual set. The model came to me. She wanted to do this concept, and basically it's like a German soldier. She's got like a German hat on, and she's paled out. She's kind of like a German zombie, basically.
Okay.
And that's just a close-up from that set, and that's actually a spit bubble.
Yes. So is that the thing coming out of her mouth there? Is that her lip or is that her tongue? What's that?
That's her lip.
Yeah. So I can't really tell what's happening there. It freaks me out every time I look at it.
And I didn't realize that was a bubble. It almost looked like a cat eye.
No, I got the bubble. which is kind of cool.
I shot those with those strip lights.
Right.
Yeah, the bubble is cool that she was able to do that. But the lip, I'm not understanding what's happening. It almost like it's pulled down. Is that just an effect?
I actually think. Well, I mean, her mouth is pretty. Yeah, well, it's pretty much. Her mouth has been like filled with. We call it the special spray, and basically it's just a mix of a bunch of food safe things that make your mouth look nasty, and then she's got what's called fresh scab done up around her mouth, so it looks like she's been eating somebody.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that was the one that got me. I don't know if that surprised you out of all the ones, but that one freaked me out every time I looked at it. Okay, so a question out there from chat. Have you ever done a photo for a good cause and it actually caused controversy, say for cancer or domestic violence, because of the image?
Yes, actually, I got hired to do a domestic violence showing that it doesn't just happen in heterosexual relationships. It was male-male homosexual relationships. There's quite a lot of domestic violence in that situation as well. And so I got hired by this person to do this. Well, actually, Juliet got hired to do the makeup for it, and I did the shoot for it. And then combined, we made this image, and it was for anti-domestic violence. And the person wore the makeup job to, they had like a benefit that night, and people were up in arms. It was too real. It was too real. Please go wash that off. And they had a coronary about it. Then we posted the image on Facebook, and it ended up with almost more likes and more comments than I've ever gotten before. And it was a lot of people like, you should take this down, this is mean. And it was just basically a makeup job of somebody who had been beat up. Mm-hmm. And it touched home, and it made people think about it. And people like to live in their cocoon of everything's happy and right with the world, but the world is a disgusting place. So I like to show those things.
So they were upset that you displayed somebody that, I don't understand I haven't seen the image, but I don't understand that. And it's a shame that whether it's in a heterosexual relationship or not, that there's violence out there against the partner, or even against kids. Since I've become a father, I'm especially emotional toward any kind of violence or any kind of pain that kids are feeling. But we're all human. There's no need to cause unnecessary pain against another person. That sounded like a great cause to be shooting for. So I'm sorry you had controversy there, but at least I got people talking about it.
That's what the point of a good image is.
Yeah.
Is to just get people talking, just get people stirred up. So. Yep.
All right.
We've done a couple other ones, but those are pretty gross.
All right, I'm going to try and pull up this next one here that is a little bit different than the other ones. And this one, I can see this one be part of a movie poster too. I can't think of the movie that would be part of, but I love the angle here. That it'll take a second for it to come up. The angle that you're shooting from, making her head look so big, and then the way her body is shaped. And
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah. But maybe not a normal Alice in Wonderland. Maybe a dark Alice in Wonderland. Right. What lens were you using here? And did you do any special post processing with this one?
Actually, no. There really wasn't any extra post processing. Literally, that was shot with one strobe in an abandoned warehouse. With you see the strobe off to her. Her left as I'm looking at it, and that's why the shadows kind of break away. And it was just to bring some light into her face, but that was shot with a 10.5 millimeter fisheye. Okay. It's a specialty lens. I don't use it very often. It's actually a buddy of mine, Steve. It's his. I have it in my bag because he's a photographer, but he's also a drummer for a rock band, so he's always out on tour, and he never gets to use his toys. So I'm the official photographer for this band, and they pretty much gave me use of all their personal equipment. So I just happened to have it in my bag that day, and we shot a bunch of stuff in this warehouse. But this was one of my favorite images from it, and it's just basically straight on vertical shot, just making sure that I was probably maybe 6 inches from her nose.
Wow.
With the camera.
I love the
fisheye definitely warps. Yeah, I do too, but it's definitely not something that you can shoot within the studio because it's got a 179-degree viewable. So it's literally, you'd have to set up a complete wraparound background and all sorts of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, it has limited use, but
for locations.
Yeah, it has limited use, but that's it when used right, like here, it's just fantastic. So a question out there in chat is there any specific director, photographer, or artist from whom you draw inspiration? Yeah, great question out there by, I can't remember what name you said, but ECMW is.
I take a look. That's Tidy. Those are the buddies in the next room. There is actually. I have. I'm a big Del Toro fan. I love those movie monsters he makes. So I'm a big fan of that surreal world, like from like Hellboy and Pan's Labyrinth and stuff like that. I take a lot of inspiration from that visual. I'm also a big fan of, I can't really remember the name of the director or the name of the person who did the film, but The Cell, I'm a big fan of that movie. I know Jennifer Lopez is in it, but the visuals in that movie were done outstanding. As far as directors / artists go, Del Toro is probably the top of my list, but as far as photographers go, there's so many. I can't even mention them all, but I take big inspiration from two Canadian photographers, actually, Vaughn Wong and Renee Robbins. Those two just do fantastic, beautiful work, and my work it's not the same style as theirs, but I definitely draw that moodiness. I try to, not emulate them, but at the same time learn. I look at their images and I'm constantly, okay, they put a light here. What kind of light did they use? So I can learn myself, because learning is a huge part of this business, and you have to constantly be open to change. So I would say those two are pretty big.
Now, you said you also do weddings, and weddings is something I don't want to ever do, but. To me, weddings would be, after you've done, let's say, you've done 100 or so of them, being creative and finding some way to do something different it would seem like it'd get harder and harder to do, where this work seems like you must just have a blast every day you go to work doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's there's definitely the stress. I mean, if I'm standing at a photo shoot and I've got this awesome concept in my head, and I've got a great model I'm working with, or a great client, and everything's good to go, and everything's working that day, I am the happiest camper in the whole world.
True.
But it's a business. It's still a business. So I have the same stresses of every CEO in the world. Is this working? Do I have enough for this? Is my equipment going to last me? There's all those stupid stresses, and it's a constant battle. But the final products make it worth it for me.
Yeah, and I say, make that comment without as talking to a guy who doesn't have to worry about all that, just looking at the images and saying how much fun that would be, and thinking about just the fun. But you're right, this is a business, and ultimately you need to eat and pay rent and all that kind of stuff from this business.
Right.
And speaking of that, as you get bigger and bigger and you get more clients, do you feel that eventually you'll be able to outsource some of that? Maybe bring somebody on. You got the makeup lady who helps you out, makeup person, and with the business side of it, do you ever, I'm sure you got to worry about taxes and all that kind of stuff. Farming some of that out.
As far as outsourcing, okay, and that's what your tax agent's for. I would recommend that everybody. I'm like I said, I'm a high school dropout, so I'm kind of a self-sufficient person. I've had to learn, how to adjust the finances. I've had to learn how to do, I've fallen on my face more times than I can count. I am by no means perfect at this. I get ruined all the time, and I learn from it. And then the next time I know not to make that mistake. So it's all about trying to get. For me, anyways, I like to do everything myself because I'm kind of an OCD person. The makeup, it took her years for me to be able to trust her with the makeup, and then once she did, she proved me wrong right away. She knew what she was doing. She got it right away. So I outsourced the makeup But other than that, as far as the business goes, I've never really had a whole lot in my life to hold on to. So I'll probably never let the majority of the business work go, because I don't want anybody else making decisions for me.
True. It is tough.
Part of the reasons I don't. Go ahead.
It's because no one, no matter how good they are, no one is going to think like you and be you and get everything the way you want. It's good when you can find a makeup artist like that who you can have confidence in and feel good about. But there's only probably so many parts of the business that you feel comfortable letting anybody even try that.
Right. I mean, makeup is one of those things that I could still be there to direct and still be there. I mean, I don't have to monitor her at all anymore, but I really didn't in the beginning either. As soon as she picked it up and was like, all right, this is what I want to do, and I want to do it for you. I mean, any photographer out there can hire her, or any movie or whatever, but, when she started working for me, it's almost like we share a brain, because she can anticipate what I'm going to say because she's worked with me so long.
Yeah.
Working relationships that, we've been together in a relationship for, 4 years plus. And then on top of it, we've been friends longer than that, like way longer than that. So she's seen, she knows how I react. She knows what, makes me mad, what doesn't make me mad, when things are going wrong. She can make suggestions, and she's been around the business long enough to know, if I need a light moved, she knows exactly where to do with it. She's the best assistant I've ever had. So
that's great.
As far as getting anything.
Yeah, it's great that you find somebody that you can be comfortable with, and that helps the business grow, and for both of you, for both her and you and her. So, question Magic Eye Studios has is, you have some location shots out there. Some of them we can't tell; they could have been in studio, but some of them are obviously what we see as a location shoot, like the one I got coming up now. How do you find your locations? Do the clients recommend them? Do you know of, hey, here's a bunch of places I want to go shoot, or how are you finding them?
It's a mix. Most of it is me driving around, looking constantly. I'm one of those people who can shoot just about anywhere if I have to, but so I'm constantly looking. The light's hitting that really nice today, or the urban exploration helps a little bit with that, because it's about like the picture you have up now, and those are all in the same building. Even the one that was the fisheye that you were showing earlier, just different parts of the exact same building. So, it does take a little bit, and don't ever be afraid to call your city and ask for a permit, because permits help. They keep you from being arrested.
So they'll give you a permit? They'll give you a permit to go shoot in here?
Not necessarily this location, which I'll remain anonymous. But yes, there are locations that, especially like I know, in Cleveland not so much, but I know in like New York City you can get permits to shoot in some of the bigger, more popular abandoned locations. Cleveland, for the most part, like last summer, we wanted to do a zombie apocalypse shoot. It's a project I've been working on since. It's called The Last Stand. And the first part of that 7-part series, because I do my shoots my series are normally in the number 7 because it seems to be my lucky number.
There you go, blind 7.
But yeah, so we started the beginning of this project, and it was 30 zombies overrunning the last 4 people. Well, we wanted to do this in a grand setting, and shooting it in somebody's backyard just wouldn't cut it. So I called the city and I asked if I could close down an entire street in the flats, and they said, sure.
What?
Get a permit. I said, okay, how do I get a permit? They went through the entire permit process with me. I paid the small fee. It was nowhere near, it wasn't, thousands of dollars or anything. It was less than $100. And
wow.
I paid for the permit. They shut the road down. They blocked it off. We had 14 hours to shoot if we wanted to. But by the time we got there and everything got set up, I think we spent about 8 hours with the road closed. We shot right at sunset by the time all the makeup jobs were done, and we packed up, cleaned up, and left, and it was done.
You never know what you get unless you ask.
Right, and that's the thing. It's about being personable. You gotta actually ask. There's those old farmhouses out in the country around us, because the way Cleveland's set up, I don't know if it's the same around you. It's like inner city, the main downtown, then it's like inner city, and then it branches out, and within an hour drive from here, you're in farm country. All it takes is if you really need a dilapidated barn, go ask a farmer. Be like, hey, I'll throw you a couple bucks to let me use your dilapidated barn for an hour. You know, more than likely, as long as you're being safe, respectful, and you're not damaging their property, they're making money to just sit there.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't care, you know. And sometimes you don't even have to offer them money. You can, you know, some places will let you, if you're, you know, doing something that's appropriate anyways, some places will let you shoot in them if you ask.
Mm-hmm. And it is going to sound a sexist comment. We used to have a female host on here, Kathleen, who, you know, I've mentioned this before. She's had her third baby, so she's, you know, wanting to take some time off to be with her 3 young children. But she has found, she's been able to get into a lot of places to shoot because she was female, and she just went up and nicely asked and got in there. So, you never know. Like you said, you should ask and see if you can get in there, and then maybe, you know, bring along somebody that can help you out to get in there if you can't get in there normally.
Right. I mean, for me personally, like I said, I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
I'm 6 foot tall, 400 pounds, covered head to toe in tattoos and piercings, and you know, I'm a scary looking dude. I look like a giant biker, even though I'm not. And you know, that's the nice thing about having a lot of friends, because I can have my friends that look normal and respectable go ask for me.
Joe Farmer.
He has that Kathleen go ask.
Yeah, Joe Farmer may look at you and go, no, you're not going to shoot on my farm.
Right. But that's why I have, you know, it's always fun to have, I mean, this may sound sexist too, but a cute little girl to go ask. Because
that's what I was getting
almost
at.
Always get a yes.
That's what I was getting at. I don't mean to sound sexist. But, you know, that all that does is then hopefully Joe Farmer, I'm just saying Joe, could be somebody else, then maybe interacts with you and realizes, okay, he may be 6 foot whatever and 400 pounds and tattooed, but he's a nice guy. You then make a judgment on the person rather than the looks. So as we're coming close to the end here, I wanted to wrap it up with, you know, going off of the type of photos we're looking at, and you also do bands, live bands. And, you know, so the photo I have up here, you know, the color just pops. But which band is this?
That's Unsaid Fate. They're a Cleveland local band. I think they're working on a regional contract, but yeah, they're a Cleveland local band. Been around for years. They used to be called Jackie, but they recently changed their name.
Now, do you go there as a fan and just shoot, or are they hiring you to shoot, or how's that working for you?
They do both. As far as certain bands go, I mean, for the majority, I'll shoot any live show if I'm hired for it. I happen to quite enjoy Jackie's music and Unsaid Fate's music, because Jackie's the lead singer, actually.
Okay.
I happen to enjoy their music a lot, and I actually ran into them. I was shooting for another band years upon years ago at an Old House of Blues show. I ran into the lead singer needed to get from the stage after the show to the bar, and the crowd was so thick, she jumped on my back and said, "Take me to the bar." And I ran all the way to the bar through the crowd, and we've been friends ever since. And actually, being friends with her introduced me to Mushroomhead and a bunch of other bands, which has blown up my music industry end of the business. Now I'm being sought after by much larger projects and things because, I mean, I can capture images like that at the live show, and having a good relationship with the person that's making the music and the band allows you to expand. Anybody can get a press pass. You just have to know how to work your way into a venue. The press pass gets you in the press pit. That's it. This particular image is taken from a press pit, but I have access to backstage, live. I can be on the stage with them. Actually, the Mushroomhead Halloween show is coming up. It's their huge event. They actually went ahead and had my head casted. I'm actually having it casted this week to wear a mask that looks like them, so I blend in with them on stage, so I can get shots in the middle of the show on stage with them.
Wow.
So it's about creating a client relationship. I mean, bands pay me. Yes, they pay me for shots like this. I charge a certain rate to shoot a live show, but and anyone can do that. It doesn't matter if you're a huge rock star or not. It's an affordable rate for anyone, and as long as I have an all-access pass, I'm good, so I can get where I need to go. And you know, a lot of times if you just have a press pass because you really like that band and want to go shoot them, you get 3 songs and you're done. That's all it's all you're allowed to shoot, the first 3 songs and you're done. Having a good relationship or being a hired photographer from the band, I get the whole show. Mm-hmm. So I'm getting to shoot, you know, I'm getting the sweatiness at the end and you know, the crowd roars, and you know, most bands do a grand finale, so that finale at the end, I'm able to capture that where some of the other photographers aren't, and that's because I've created a relationship, a rapport with the people who are in the industry. And that definitely wasn't something that happened overnight. That was a lucky break, which I admit, but it was a lot of hard work too.
Hey, that was a time when your size paid off. Getting her through the crowd like that.
Yep.
There you go. So what was the name of this band that we're seeing again? Because I want to make sure we include it in the show notes.
Unsaid Faith.
Unsaid Faith. Tell me. We'll look.
I'll type it in the box. Give me 1 second.
Okay. We'll put a link to their.
Yeah, I found their site.
Okay, you found.
I got that Facebook page as well.
Okay, good. So we'll put a link to there too to give them a little bit of credit. All right, so you know what is next for Abe? You know, do you have any big plans on anything coming up? What would you like to do next?
I would like to just keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, you know, obviously I want more success and more money like anybody else does. I'm a businessman. I have to. But I anticipate every day as if I'm doing something better the next day. So it's a little taxing and a little stressful to think that way, but I'm always looking forward to my next shoot. So if tomorrow I have some plans, I'm going to be going out doing a little urban exploration, trying to find some new locations and join with my buddies in the next room. So it's just a matter of, you know, it's a matter of what can I do next. I try not to think about that 5-year plan where I want to be, you know, I'm going to be a millionaire jet setting around the world. I got to be realistic. This industry is so saturated with everybody can buy a camera at Walmart that I have to dream for today, not necessarily tomorrow. So.
Yeah, you know, everybody can buy a camera, but you're doing things that not everybody can do, and also what I have found in my life is you don't have to be the smartest, you don't have to be the most talented, and I'm not saying you're not, I'm just saying me. You just have to be willing to do things in whatever path you choose. You have to be willing to do more than the other person. You know, somebody's going to go buy a camera. They're not necessarily going to get the makeup artist. They're not going to do all the hard work to do the setup that you're doing and all of that. So, you know, you're setting yourself apart, and hopefully that leads to more success for you with that. Because, you know, while all these people buying cameras are getting better and better, there's still limits to what they can do. And the limit is also consistency and continuing, perseverance, you know, continuing and consistently providing a good product.
Well, yeah, and I mean, as far as photographers go, I mean, I don't mean to bash the fly-by-nights, but you know, it's if you take a good picture on your cell phone and then 5 minutes later, a professional photographer goes, "Oh, that's a beautiful image," and you go, "Oh, sweet!" You run out the next day, you buy yourself a $1,000 DSLR, you rent a studio and you start doing portraits for $35 a look. No, it's just it shouldn't be how it works. Right. You should. I mean, this is an industry that you have to put forth the time, the effort to set yourself apart, because anybody can do that. You might make great money the first 6 months. You might make great money the first year, and that whole time you're learning, and you might get better. But eventually, it runs out because you're not setting yourself apart. You're not putting forth the effort. So it's definitely.
There's a difference between making, that $35 portrait person is probably not covering their cost, really, when you take everything into account. And they're probably not becoming a true business with the, insurance and all that kind of stuff. So while they may think they're making money, they're really not. And if they ever tried to stop their day job and live off of that, they'd find that out. but yeah, it's photography is an industry that's unlike a lot of other industries, where the barrier to entry to begin with is somewhat small, and you can convince some people, because what I have talked about often is if you stick a mom's and a dad their child into a photo, the quality of the photo almost doesn't matter anymore. They think it's wonderful, and if they took the photo, they think it's wonderful. But consistently doing that and getting clients to come back and then talk good about you, that's what becomes difficult. There's a pain for the other photographers who have to deal with that all the time, and I feel for you guys. But you will prevail as you continue to provide good products.
Well, I get it a lot of times. Price plays a huge difference in like what I do. I get a ton of people all the time. Oh, you're just too expensive. It's too expensive. Well, if you got $600 worth of FX makeup going into a shoot, I'm not going to charge you $50. So, my commercial clients are a little bit more understanding about it because they realize what goes into it for the most part. But as far as like the Joe Schmo client or the general, public, they look at me and they go, "Oh, wow, you charge way too much money." Well, if I do a wedding for $2,000, I make no money. I'm actually spending money. Because they're like, "Oh, well, you shoot for 12 hours. That's it. You're there for 12 hours a day." Well, yeah, but I got 200 hours of editing, and post-process, and all this. You've got all this stuff that goes into it. By the end of it, if you charge $2,000 for a wedding, you're lucky if you make $7. I mean, what is that? A pack of cigarettes or a snack at McDonald's? Like,
you got the camera. They often, what people break stuff down to is, and I when I was shooting sports, which was a lot easier than what you're doing. People always broke it down to, it only cost you 46 cents to print it at Costco. I know that. I've gone to Costco. So they're wondering, if you just charge me 50 cents, that you've already got a profit built in there. It's like, but there's a lot more that goes into it. I wasn't making a living off that. I was a hired shooter for somebody who was doing that. But the deal is, especially for you, if you're running this as a business, you got insurance, you've got business license, you've got taxes, you've got food you got to eat. You got to actually make a living. Just covering your cost is not going to work. The camera gear, all that kind of stuff that people forget about. And then you also are hiring the talent. Your talent,
my fiance's
is worth something.
My fiance's dad has this awesome saying: "You're not hiring me. What is it? You're not hiring me for what I'm doing. You're hiring me for what I know."
Yes,
exactly.
It plays so much into this industry, and that's why brand, not necessarily brand naming, but creating your own style and creating your own brand around that. If you're going to do something that is not well received, like I do a lot of work that, a Vogue fashion magazine is probably not going to print me because I'm not, the guy shooting with the $40,000 Hasselblad, and I'm not the guy who's known for doing this fashion stuff. But I may be able to take an alt-fashion photo that, looks just as good, if not better, but they're not going to recognize me because most of my work is something that they won't like. But I enjoy doing it. I'm trying to make a living at it. And as long as you keep pushing forward, you'll get there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Abe, thank you for coming out tonight. I got a few wrap-up things here, and thank you guys out in chat for feeding us with some questions there. It's been very pleasant experience talking with you and going over some things we haven't shown here before. Keep in touch, and we'd love to know. Anytime you're doing something that you want us to publicize, let me know, and we'll push it out on our Facebook page and everywhere else. And I mentioned, at the top of the show, that the images we've shown, as good as they looked, I do have to degrade them to stream them, so you guys the stream will work. So make sure you go to Abe's website and look at them in their full glory. They're just fantastic out there. We'll have a link for you in the show notes to go look at those, and we'll have a link to the videos he mentioned where you can go and look at some of the behind the scenes stuff. So if you didn't make it for the whole show, and I think, I don't know if anybody came in late or needed to leave a little bit early. If you left a little early, you're not going to hear me now. But we do record this. It'll be out on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. and no offense to our Stitcher Radio fans, I love you guys because there's a bunch of them out there, and we've had a bunch of them come over to Facebook in our group. But you're going to want to see some of this. So if you get it on Stitcher, you only hear the audio. Head over to Abe's site and look at some of the photos so you can see what we were talking about. It's hard for me sometimes to describe these so the audio listeners know what we're talking about. But you can get us on Stitcher. You can get us on YouTube, which I mentioned in the pre-show. Tim, that now we have a little friendly competition going on of a couple of my podcasting friends, and we've now passed both of them with subscribers. Woo! So thank you guys all out there who have helped subscribe to the show out there. And I mentioned Facebook. If you're not a member of a Facebook group, we're getting close to 1,000 members. Abe, if you ever want to join, that'd be awesome. Come in there and join that. We also have one I don't talk too much about, but it's a boudoir one. You can post whatever. I don't know what Facebook rules are, but they probably don't allow nudity. You can post whatever in the main group, but if the boudoir one is still growing, and it's meant more for just that type of subject, talking about boudoir type photos. I don't talk about it too much, but we do have that group too. And we have this. I need to take the initiative here, Tim. We have a download section on our forums, which are not very active because most people spend time on Facebook. We need to get some Photoshop actions out there and some Lightroom presets out there too, so we can start sharing some of those. Not ones you've bought; those are owned by somebody, and they don't want you just giving them out. But ones you developed yourself that you want to share, put those out there. If there's a place where you want to get the show and you can't find it, we're even on TiVo. Let me know and I'll try and get us there. The one at Abe, we do a photo challenge out in our Facebook group every month, and the winner gets a $25 Amazon gift certificate. They get their photo at the top of the Facebook group, and they get to pick the next contest. So this month's contest was by Jeannie, who won back in September. The contest for this month is self-portraits. So you got to the end of October to get your self-portrait in. And she actually said self-portrait rule of thirds. I don't know how strict she is in enforcing rule of thirds, but self-portrait is the topic. So if you're not a member of the group, go out there. The only way you can enter is be a member of the group. The only way you can vote is be a member of the group, and we'd love to see you out there. We got some very talented photographers out there. We got a wide range from the beginner. So if you're a beginner, you don't feel intimidated. There's more than a lot of people out there that'd be willing to help you. Jeannie, if you mentioned her, who won last September, just past September. She when she started off, she had a long way to go, and she's made a lot of progress since then. So we're very proud of Jeannie and all the other people. We got a lot of talented people out there, Tim.
Yes, we do.
So anything I'm forgetting? Oh, the way we fund these things, we don't make any money from the show, but the way we fund these things is by people using our Amazon link. I got the link right above the show here. Is when you go to buy something from Amazon, use our link. Use all those funds to put back into the giveaways in the contest as a way to give back to photographers, because photography, as Abe would know, is an expensive business. It's the software, yes. It's the software, it's the hardware, it's the computers themselves. It's all this stuff. Even if you're a hobbyist, there's a lot of expense in that. So the little bit we can do. We'll do that. If we started making a bunch of money from that link, we'll just up the contest and the challenge, the giveaways.
Just think of us at Christmas time when you order all your gifts.
There you go. We had somebody buy a camera this month, so this month actually turned out pretty good. And we're coming up on we've been doing this photo challenge for over a year now. This December will be the second time, and we're going to do it again, Tim, where the December challenge is your best photo of the year. Normally the challenge is the best, the topic, and you got to take it in that month. But for December, it's going to be your best photo of the year, any topic. And I'm thinking I got to make sure we're going to have the money for it. Do like $100 Amazon gift certificate.
Woohoo!
Woohoo! All right, with that, we'll be back next week. I need to look up the guest. Cosmin Danelli. I'm sure I said your name wrong. Sorry. I have to get that down before next week's show. But until next week, keep it raw.
Good night, everybody.